In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to design and model a tiny home using SketchUp. Now, for those of you wondering what a tiny home is, it's, as the name suggests, it is a home that is very small. And you've probably seen them around before, but they are starting to take the world by storm, especially at the moment with the cost of living crisis and the price of houses just going through the roof. So this is a much cheaper alternative to your standard family home that most people have. Okay, not only is it cheaper to buy, but these are also much cheaper to run. And what I mean by run is just your electricity bills, for example. You're not powering up a huge 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom home. Generally, they're just like one living space. So your electricity bills are going to be much lower. And you'll find that a lot of these tiny homes are designed in an eco-friendly manner. So there's usually solar panels getting around on the roofs. They're made from sustainable materials. And they obviously have a very small footprint on the environment as well. So they are quite good in terms of looking after the environment. Another advantage of these tiny homes is that you can move around with them. Most of them have been built on trailers. Okay, like this one here, for example. If you zoom in, you can see the trailer underneath there. I think there's a few wheels at the back. Okay, so if you get sick of living in one spot or you want to go and explore a new place, simply hitch up your tiny home on the back of the car and off you go. Another thing that tiny homes have been used for recently is for granny flats out the back of normal homes and also for Airbnbs. So loads of advantages there for certainly purchasing a tiny home. Here's an example of what one could look like on the inside as well. So you certainly don't go without. It's definitely got everything that you would expect to see in a house, just in a very small space, very minimalistic. So it does force you to declutter, I guess. But definitely they are popular and they are on the rise throughout the world. So we're going to be designing one of those tiny homes in SketchUp today. In fact, I'll show you an example of the one we're going to be making. This is it here. Okay, nothing too special about it. It's actually been designed from real plans. I got onto the internet and I found some plans for this tiny home. So I followed them to a T and managed to make something or model something similar to those plans. Now you can even look inside here by hiding the roof and it matches the plans as well. So you've got a toilet, got a sink here with a mirror, glass screen and a little shower. And then if we come back to the main part of our tiny home here, you can see we've got, I'm zoomed in a bit far there, you can see we've got a little sink with some storage underneath. I should have probably put in an oven or a stove there. It's a bit hard to cook when you don't have a kitchen. So this house is lacking a kitchen, but easy to add in. It's also got a queen bed down the end there. It's also cool in SketchUp how you can decorate these rooms with some paintings, like a little plant down there as well. Added my own windows and doors, a little light at the front. So there's lots you can do to make these homes look quite realistic. Okay. Once you become a professional at SketchUp, there's actually software out there that renders these designs and turns them into like photorealistic designs. Okay, and it's hard to distinguish between real and fake designs once they get rendered. So some pretty cool things you can do in SketchUp. Anyway, enough talking from me. Let's get into this tutorial. I'm actually going to split it up into a few different videos. It's quite a long one. But I'm going to start today by drawing the slab and getting the walls of the house sorted out. Okay, so you'll need to make yourself a new document. I'm just going to actually refresh mine, otherwise mine doesn't work overly well. Okay, and I'm going to make a brand new document. When your new document's up on the page, delete the man in the middle of the page there, and just for something a little bit different, we're going to go to our menu at the top and go to Import from My Device. And we're actually going to select the floor plan of that tiny home and import it as an image. Just click on the origin point, drag it out to a reasonable size, and then you've got your plans sitting in there that you can refer to throughout the build. Now, because today's build is so simple, I will not be tracing these plans, but in future tutorials where you start to build bigger homes, for example, or buildings, you might have rooms different shapes and sizes. So rather than just drawing out a simple rectangle like today's build, what you can do is actually get the line tool and start tracing around all the walls, okay, to get that exact design of the more complex houses. And then you can start modeling them that way. But for today, I'm going to keep it quite simple because our tiny home is a simple rectangle shape. Before I get to drawing it, what I want to do is get these plans to the exact size that they mention in the dimensions here. So 5825 is the long side of the tiny home. So I'm going to get a line tool, click and drag out a line that is 5825 millimeters in length. And now I need to press escape to get off that tool, and what I want to do is get my plans to match up to this line. So I'll need to use my scale tool a bit here to scale down the image because at the moment it is too big. And that looks pretty good to me. So you can see, oops, wrong button there. If I just move around, actually we're a little bit off there, so we could bring this side in one tiny bit more. There we go. So have a look, my line pretty much matches up with that line over there. So that means these plans now are to scale. Okay, so I could easily go around and trace the walls if I wanted to, but we know there's a quicker way to do it, and that's using the rectangle tool. So I'm going to actually draw this rectangle off to the side a little bit. And the size I want, 5825, 2395. Press enter. Okay, and then you've got, I guess you'd call this the slab for your tiny home. Now I'm going to use the push-pull tool here to just pull this slab down. So I'm going to come in underneath it and pull it down 100 millimeters. So I'm typing in 100 and pressing enter. And that's the concrete slab, I guess you'd say, that we are going to build our tiny home on today. Now from here we need to get the walls in. Okay, now the walls, generally speaking, are about 120 millimeters in thickness for an exterior wall. So I could draw another rectangle, but I'm going to use another tool here that makes life easy for me, the offset tool. Simply click and drag and type in 120 millimeters. Press enter. Okay, and that is the thickness of our walls. Now I just want to show you what you can do here. I'm going to pull it back down, but you can use the push-pull tool to now pull your walls up. And that could be the exterior of your tiny home. We're not quite at that stage yet, but that's how you make walls appear in your home designs. But what I want to get in first is this other internal wall here, for the one that separates the bathroom and the main living area. Now internal walls are a little bit skinnier at 90 millimeters rather than 120 millimeters. And what I need to do is I need to measure how far across this is roughly. Okay, so using my tape measure tool, T for the shortcut, you can go to your menu here and grab the tape measure. I'm just going to start on the outside of this black line here. So you can zoom in a bit if you want. And then go straight across. Make sure your line stays red there to the outside of that line. And we're looking at about 1260 millimeters. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here and draw a line 1260 millimeters across. Okay, so that's going to be the outer edge of my wall. So I can now grab a rectangle tool, simply click in that intersection there and drag down to the bottom line here. Now it needs to be 90 millimeters width, and I can see it's 2155 millimeters in height. So I'm going to write 90, 2155, and press enter. Okay, I've now got my wall in there. If I wanted to, I could press the E for the eraser, just erase some little lines there. Okay, and that means all walls are connected now. I might just erase that guide as well. And there we have it. We are ready to create our walls. So I'm going to grab my push-pull tool and I'm going to pull these walls up 2400 millimeters. That's the general standard in construction here. So 2400 mil gives us our two separate rooms now. So we've got our bathroom down one end, living area in the other. All right, that's looking pretty good. What else can we add in here while we are waiting? Maybe some doors. Okay, now it's a little bit fiddly with the doors. I'm not going to measure them up here. Most doors are a standard size. So I'm going to go into the 3D warehouse over here. And instead of designing a door myself, I am going to let somebody do the hard work for me. I'm going to just type in door. Actually, I might even type in front door. Wonder if that'll narrow it down a bit to the front door of a house. You've got lots of different designs there that you can choose from. So choose a design that isn't too big. Remember, we've got to keep it fairly minimalistic. This front door here looks good to me, so I'm going to download that. And that will download that design into your model. Here it is just here. So if I come around, there's my design. Now that's facing the wrong way. So I've got to actually rotate it so it's facing the right way. So to rotate, you need to grab this rotate tool or press the letter Q for the shortcut. And when you hover over the door there, you'll see a protractor appear, a blue one. If you move up, you get a green one. If you move to the side, you'll get a red one. We need the blue protractor. When you see it, just click once, either on a corner or somewhere, and then go and click on the next corner. And then you can just rotate that door around. You can actually type it in if you wanted to, 180 degrees. And now that door is facing the right way. Now we've got to get that door into our wall here somewhere. Doesn't really matter where, as long as it's down in this main part somewhere. I'm pretty much going to put it straight back from where it is now. Now my door, I've just realised, has this weird black line down here that it shouldn't have, so I'm just going to double click on it and use my erase tool to get rid of that. Okay, that looks better. Now I need to measure up this door to work out where it's going to go exactly in my house here. So I'm going to have to grab my tape measure tool with a letter T again and measure from the top. Oops. Need to actually click on the door, I think, for that to work. There we go. Top to the bottom is about 2096 millimeters. I might actually write this down in Notepad. So 2096 is going to be the height of the door. Then we can jump back over here and work out the width. So a bit going on here with this width. Let me zoom in and see what we got. We need to go to the external face there. Yeah, click on the external face, and then we'll go over to this external face. Straight across, looks like about 987. Alright, using those two dimensions, we need to draw a rectangle where we want this door over on our walls here. Okay, so I might actually move this door out of the way for a minute. Just sit over there. Using my rectangle tool, I'm going to get to a rough position where I want this, so I can see the walls there. I don't want to be too close to it, so a little bit off to the side. Okay, we're going to drag up, and what were my dimensions again? 987, 2096. Press enter, and that's not a bad looking spot for my door. Now this can be a bit fiddly, but we're going to use the push-pull tool to push that in until it disappears. This is where it can get a bit funky. It doesn't want to work, which is kind of what it's doing now. So if yours is like mine and not working how you want it to work, you may just have to delete that wall. So I'm going to have to click on it and press delete. And if you look around there, that doesn't look too bad. Alright, so we are now ready to insert our door. So use your move tool, and I'm going to grab the front left corner and snap it to this front corner here. Drag it across to that front corner till it snaps in. You may need to do a bit of zooming around to get that right. There we go, eventually it snaps into position. And there's your door. Looks good. A bit of a fly around. I'm quite happy with that. Okay. Now the other door that we need to worry about is the sliding door for the bathroom. Okay, we might put that in now as well. Okay, and then that'll do us for this tutorial. Now, if we go back to the plans for a moment here, you'll see that we've got a sliding door that slides to the right. So let's see if we can find something like that. So let's go to the 3D warehouse and we'll search sliding door. So caps lock on. There'll be lots of sliding external doors, but we're looking for an internal door. So this one here could work. What else have we got? Yeah, some of these ones here wouldn't be too bad. So it's just a matter of scrolling through and picking up one that you like the looks of. I don't think we're going to get much different to that, so I think roll with one of them. I'm going to go with this one actually, because this is one I used in my example. I liked this one. It's a big thick door. Okay, and again, it's facing the wrong way, so just drop it outside of your design for a moment. I'm going to use the rotate tool to get this right. So use the rotate tool here. Remember, the blue protractor is the one you want. Click on any corner with the blue protractor showing. You can even click in the middle if you wanted to. Then click out on an edge. Start dragging it around. 90 degrees is what you're looking for. I just type in 90 and press enter. And that's facing the right way now, and that will slide off to the right, which is exactly what we wanted. Now we'll do our measurements here first to see what sort of space we need to work with here. Now I'm not going to measure this little bit off the back here. Don't need to worry about that. It's this front face I want to measure. So we're going to start here. I think that's the front face, and go straight across. And we've got 1360 millimeters. So I'm going to write this in here, 1360. And then we need to measure from top to bottom. Now this should be close to the 2400, I'm hoping. It is. So it's going to go all the way to the top of the roof. Which means we'll probably just have to scale it down a little bit so it doesn't get jammed opening and closing, but actually it won't. That's just the frame, so that's all good. It goes right to the roof, so I'm happy with that. 1360 by 2400. Let's go and draw in a rectangle here. So grab your rectangle tool. Now usually a door will be about 10 mil, about 10 mil or so away. 100 mil, is it? I think I'm thinking 100 mil, sorry. 100 mil away from the walls. Getting my dimensions a bit confused here, so I'm going to grab my tape measure. Just bring it across 100. Where's that put it? Out there. So now I've got a bit of a guide to where I can start drawing. Okay, now it's 1360 by 2400. Stuck in the wall there. Let me just zoom back a bit. Okay, so it's a big door, but that's what we've got to work with. So let's see how we go. So I'm going to grab the push-pull tool here to try and push this door inwards, to try and remove it. So grab the push-pull tool, push it inwards. Now it doesn't quite get rid of it, so again you'll need to grab your select tool, which is your black arrow, click on that space and press delete. Now it's got a bit of a frame still there. Delete the black line at the top and probably the line at the bottom as well. Don't need them. Okay, so we've now got a gap there for our door to go into. What I'm going to do is grab the move tool and grab this left-hand corner, snap it into the wall down there on that left-hand corner. So make sure those two line up with one another. And let's have a look. We've got a pretty decent looking door. It's a thick one, but it's pretty much the right height. If we come around there, that looks good, 2400 high. If we come around the back, you can see the door actually has room to slide open. A bit hard to see actually, but there's a little bit there. That's where the door slides open. Obviously that'd go into the shower area, but we're not going to worry about that just now. The only thing I might change is this bit of wall here and make it the same size as the door frame. So using the push-pull tool, just pull it out. Might need to zoom in a bit there so you can get it spot on. There we go. That's about right, I think. So we're looking good. I'll come right back. This might do us now for our first part of the tutorial. So we've got our walls and our doors all set up. They're all dimensioned nicely. Got the slab down the bottom. Happy days. So I'm going to triple click my mouse now on the walls. 1, 2, 3. That selects them all. I'm going to make them a component by right clicking, choosing make component and writing walls. Click create. Now if you go to your outliner over here, you can see now we've got doors, door 1, we've got the walls. Okay, now I don't think I did the slab. No, I didn't. Oh well, slab's going to have to stay as it is for now. Happy days there. So we've got that looking pretty good. In the next video, we're going to come back and we're going to be working on the bathroom. Very small space, but we'll see what we can fit into it. So I'll see you shortly.